All right, let's talk Georgia Bulldogs here for a second. Look, there's been a lot of news in college football. Of course, the big news is Nick Saban, Alabama head football coach, has retired. It opens up a lot of opportunities for other programs to go in and look at Alabama's talent and find key players they want to add to their roster to improve their roster. And Georgia Bulldogs, being a smart, well-run program, are taking advantage of this opportunity. We've got some news. Let's pull up the report. This is from UGA Wire, and then we'll go into more details, on the other side. Again, from UGA Wire. Alabama Crimson Tide redshirt freshman safety Jake Pope is transferring to the Georgia Bulldogs. Pope committed to Georgia on Friday evening. Pope, a former four-star recruit, played high school football at Buford High School in Buford, Georgia. Kirby Smart in Georgia football heavily recruited Jake Pope out of high school. Pope did not see any game action as a true freshman in 2022. He redshirted. This past season, Pope played in 11 games as a special teams player, so he's got 3 years of eligibility left. All right, look, this is a classic move that smart programs do in this situation. I think Georgia's one of the smartest programs in college football. What these programs do that are elite, they have elite talent. They're a deep team right now. They are the odds-on favorite, according to Vegas, the smart money. Georgia is to be the national title winner this upcoming season. At this case, in this situation, it's all about risk mitigation. The only thing that could derail a potential Georgia Bulldogs national title season would be injuries at certain positions. You have to throw in an inexperienced guy who's not familiar with, maybe you're not familiar with him. He screws up, you lose the game. That happens in football all the time. We see a team, they look like a great team. They have a couple injuries at a key position. They have to throw in a true freshman. True freshman can't step up and they lose the game. It's unfortunate. It's just reality. How you mitigate that risk is going out and finding a guy that you recruited, you know his skill set, you know his talents, you know what role he's going to fill in your program, who has spent 2 seasons, right, at Alabama's strength and conditioning program, and Alabama's development program, which is one of the best in country. So you know you're bringing in a guy who's physically mature, who's mentally mature, and you know how he plays the game in Jake Pope to bring in. And if at nothing else, he's a great depth piece to mitigate potential risk with injuries in the defensive backfield. I think this is a great move by Kirby Smart and company. I'm curious what your thoughts are, Mize. But first, Georgia Bulldogs fans, look, it's been an eventful offseason so far. A lot of new additions to this Bulldogs program. Get us the one new Georgia Bulldog you're excited to see more than anybody else and put them in the comment section below. But Miles, give me your thoughts on this move by the Bulldogs and just everything going on with Georgia right now.
Yeah, Nick, I think this is a great move by Georgia as I like the risk mitigation angle that you have on this one. I think that's going to be really smart for them because, like you said, injuries are the only thing that is going to potentially derail this team's season. But the other part is they knew what they were doing and they really capitalized on this one because, like we said, this guy really hasn't played a whole heck of a lot yet. He was a redshirt freshman in this season. He obviously means he redshirted his true freshman year. He didn't really play, he did a little bit of special teams. This is a guy Georgia was very intimately familiar with. They recruited him. They knew everything about him because they highly recruited him, being a local guy, being a guy out of Georgia. Very, very smart move by them because they bring him in. And what do you want out of a guy? If you have someone go down with injuries, what kind of player do you want? You want a really great athlete, someone who can come in, perform, use their athletic talents. Maybe they're not as familiar with the scheme yet or, the players that are playing around them. And this was a guy coming out of high school who was a phenomenal athlete. He played baseball, he played wide receiver, safety, and kick returner for that Buford team who went 13-1 and won the Georgia 6A state championship. So he was a heck of an athlete, a guy that Georgia was really familiar with. And then they're able to come in Alabama's weak point and get a guy that they recruit say, hey, remember us? Remember how much we liked you? Come back to us. We're still stable. We know what's going on here. We are still the top team in the SEC, probably one of the top teams in the country. So come back home to Georgia. I think it was a great seizing of the moment for Kirby Smart and this Georgia team. And, no one really does it better than them.
And you bring up a great point about Pope's, high school career. He played a lot of different positions. We're seeing a lot of teams in college football, and Georgia's done a great job of this. They take a guy whose position title is whatever it is, but they put him in all kinds of different environments to take advantage of his skill sets, different plays, formations. Of course, they do this with the tight end. They do this with the wide receivers. They do it in defense as well, put safety sometimes in linebacker roles in certain situations. They're a very, I would say, modern, almost NFL-ish kind of style of football team that use a lot of different positionless kind of players. And having a great athlete like Pope gives them that versatility and, again, gives them depth. This is a guy who can line up all over the field. He can play all the special teams unit. He is Worst case scenario, right? Best case scenario, he becomes a superstar and a great safety for the Georgia Bulldogs, all conference, all that. But worst case scenario, you get a grown up who's ready to come in and be a versatile key depth piece for your defense and special teams. And that's exactly what Georgia needs, right? Because in terms of the big issues, right, they've got the positions filled out, right? This is a deep, talented team that is the odds on favorite to win the national title. We see other programs, right? They're going for the 5-star wide receiver, 5-star running back, whatever. They're trying to fill major holes on their roster. The Bulldogs don't have any major holes by my estimation. They just have to mitigate risk and add depth in key areas. And I think Pope is a perfect guy for just that.